Have you ever felt like you just don't quite fit in? Like the way you think, feel, or experience the world is somehow different, almost like you're from another planet? If so, you might have one of those rare personality types that Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychiatrist, would find fascinating. Jung's personality theories have been the foundation for many of the personality typing systems we use today, including the Myers-Briggs type indicator. He believed that personality is made up of distinct psychological functions and attitudes, and that each person's unique combination creates a complex inner world. But what if you're not just unique? What if you're one of the rarest personalities out there? Those kinds of people don't just think differently. They live differently, and sometimes that means they struggle to find others who truly understand them. The world can feel overwhelming, chaotic, or even a bit dull in comparison to the rich inner life they carry around. In this article, we're going to explore 8 key signs that you might have an extremely rare personality type. These aren't just casual hints or vague traits. No, these are deep, defining characteristics that mark you as someone truly exceptional in how you relate to the world and yourself. Each sign is drawn from Carl Jung's theories and expanded with insights from modern psychology and real-life examples, so you can recognize yourself clearly. Whether you're an introvert who thrives in the depths of thought, or someone whose emotions run so deep they shape everything you do, these signs will help you understand the rare personality you have, or confirm the inklings you've had all along. So get comfortable because we're about to dive deep. By the end, you might see yourself in a whole new light. Ready? Let's begin. Sign number 1. You experience the world through intense inner reflection. That if you've ever felt like your mind is a universe all its own, swirling with ideas, feelings, and questions that never seem to stop, you might be experiencing one of the most classic signs of a rare personality, an intense inner life. Carl Jung believed that the most fundamental distinction in personality is whether people tend to focus their energy outward into the world or inward into their own minds. Those who turn their attention inward are called introverts, and they make up a significant portion of rare personality types. But not all introverts are created equal. The rarest among them don't just enjoy solitude, they need it to thrive. Their inner world is so rich and layered that it often feels more real than the external one. Think about this. Many people find quiet moments boring or uncomfortable, but for you, those moments might be when you feel most alive. You could spend hours lost in thought, dissecting your experiences, emotions, or philosophical questions that seem abstract or even irrelevant to others, but absolutely essential to you. This deep inward focus isn't just about being shy or reserved. It's about a different way of processing life itself. While most people react to what's happening around them, those with rare personalities often reflect on it extensively. They search for meaning beneath the surface, question assumptions, and connect dots others don't even notice. For example, you might find yourself constantly analyzing your conversations afterward, replaying details, and wondering about underlying motives or feelings that weren't obvious at first. Or you might feel drawn to complex ideas in psychology, philosophy, or spirituality because they mirror the complexity you feel inside. One fascinating thing about this kind of intense inner reflection is that it can sometimes make the outside world feel like a distraction or even a threat. Social interactions might be draining, not because you dislike people, but because they pull you away from the place where your true energy lives, your mind. Yet, paradoxically, your rich inner world can be a source of both strength and struggle. On one hand, it fuels creativity, empathy, and insight. On the other hand, it can cause you to feel isolated or misunderstood. When your thoughts run deep and fast, it's easy to feel like a misfit in a culture that rewards quick, surface-level engagement. This sign also connects to Jung's concept of introverted intuition, a function that helps you perceive patterns, possibilities, and hidden truths beyond the obvious. If you have this function strongly developed, your inner reflection isn't random. It's a powerful tool for making sense of complex realities, often ahead of others. So, how can you tell if this sign fits you? You feel recharged by spending time alone and often seek solitude to think deeply. Your mind rarely feels idle. You're always mentally exploring, questioning, or imagining. You struggle with small talk or superficial social interactions because they feel pointless. You often find yourself thinking about abstract or philosophical topics, sometimes for hours. You notice patterns or connections in the world that others seem to miss. When overwhelmed, you retreat inward rather than seeking external distraction. Your creativity, whether in writing, art, music, or problem solving, comes from this deep internal well of thought. If this sounds like you, congratulations. You're already on the path to understanding your rare personality. This inner reflection is your secret superpower, even if it sometimes feels like a burden. But remember, it's not about being better than others. It's about recognizing that your brain is wired to perceive and process life differently, more deeply, more abstractly, and with more nuance. This can lead to incredible insight and originality, especially when you learn to balance it with the external world. Sign number 2. You feel emotions more deeply and intensely than most people. If you've ever been told you're too sensitive or wondered why you feel things so intensely while others seem unaffected, this might be your second sign of an extremely rare personality. Carl Jung's work touched on how personality influences not only thoughts, but emotions too, and rare personalities often experience emotions on a whole other level. Let's face it, emotions are complex. Some people skim the surface of feelings and quickly move on, while others dive deep into every wave and current. If you fall into the latter group, you might often find yourself swept away by feelings that are so powerful they can be both beautiful and overwhelming. Imagine feeling joy so vibrant it lights you up from the inside, or sadness so profound that it feels like the whole world has shifted. People with rare personalities don't just feel, they live their emotions, and these experiences shape their entire worldview. This emotional depth can show up in many ways. For one, you might have a heightened sense of empathy. When someone else is hurting, their pain doesn't just register intellectually, it resonates in your own heart. This deep empathy makes you incredibly compassionate and caring, but can also be exhausting. Taking on the emotions of others is no small task, and it means you often carry more emotional weight than most people realize. At the same time, your own emotions are like a rich inner landscape. You might notice subtle shifts in mood that others miss entirely, or feel complex combinations of feelings at once, like joy tinged with nostalgia or excitement mixed with fear. This emotional nuance is a hallmark of rare personalities, and it means you experience the world in high definition. Jung also believed that understanding and integrating emotions is key to personal growth. Those with rare personalities often feel a strong pull towards self-awareness. They want to understand why they feel what they do and how those feelings connect to their deeper self. This can lead to a lifelong journey of emotional exploration and healing. But this emotional intensity can also make life tricky. For example, you might find yourself overwhelmed by situations that others shrug off. Crowded places, loud noises, or even seemingly minor conflicts can trigger strong emotional reactions. You might also struggle to express your feelings in ways others understand, leading to frustration or isolation. On the bright side, this emotional richness fuels creativity. Many artists, writers, musicians, and innovators with rare personalities draw from their deep well of feelings to create works that move others profoundly. Your emotions aren't just personal experiences, they're a powerful source of connection and meaning. How can you tell if this sign fits you? You often feel emotions more intensely than the people around you. You can sense the feelings of others very easily and deeply. Your mood can shift quickly and with nuance, sometimes in ways hard to explain. You find yourself drawn to emotional or spiritual experiences, meditation, music, art, or deep conversations. You sometimes feel overwhelmed by your own feelings or those of others. You seek to understand and process your emotions rather than suppress them. Your creativity is closely linked to your emotional life. Having this kind of emotional intensity means you live life in full color, not black and white. It's a gift that can enrich your relationships, your work, and your sense of meaning if you learn how to manage it with care. Many people with rare personalities develop tools to help balance their emotional world. This might include journaling, therapy, creative expression, or spending time in nature. These activities provide safe outlets for intense feelings and help bring clarity when emotions feel confusing or overwhelming. Remember, feeling deeply doesn't mean you're weak. Quite the opposite. It means you have access to a richness of experience that many people never tap into. The challenge is learning to honor your feelings without letting them consume you. And here's an important note. Because your emotional world is so vibrant, you may attract others who aren't as emotionally aware or sensitive. This mismatch can sometimes cause misunderstandings or even emotional pain. But with awareness and boundaries, you can build relationships that respect and nurture your unique emotional nature. To sum up, this sign is about more than just being sensitive. It's about living with an emotional depth and complexity that sets you apart. When you embrace this, you unlock a powerful part of who you are and how you connect with the world. Sign number 3. You have a natural inclination to seek meaning and purpose in everything. One of the most defining features of a rare personality, especially through the lens of Carl Jung's work, is a deep, often insatiable drive to find meaning and purpose in life. If you're someone who can't just accept things at face value, if you constantly question why things are the way they are and what it all means, then this sign might resonate with you. You're not content with surface-level answers or easy explanations. Whether it's a personal experience, a relationship, or even the nature of existence itself, you feel compelled to dig deeper. You want to understand the underlying truths behind what people say and do, and what the world is really about. Jung himself was fascinated by the search for meaning. He believed that humans have an innate need to find coherence in their experiences and to integrate all parts of the self, conscious and unconscious, into a unified whole. This process is what he called individuation, or becoming your true, whole self. For those with rare personalities, this quest for meaning isn't just a phase or a hobby. It's a fundamental way of living. It shapes your thoughts, decisions, and even your emotional landscape. You might find yourself reading philosophy or spiritual texts for hours, or reflecting deeply on the big questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What does it all mean? This drive to seek purpose often makes life feel like a journey rather than a destination. You're constantly evolving, questioning old beliefs, and exploring new ways of understanding yourself and the world around you. It can be thrilling, but it can also feel isolating. After all, not everyone is interested in such profound questions. Some people prefer to focus on the practical or the immediate. If this sounds like you, you've likely experienced moments where everything else fades away, and what matters most is uncovering some deeper truth. Maybe you've had powerful insights during quiet moments, or a sudden clarity that reshapes how you see your life. Those moments are the fuel that keep you going. This pursuit of meaning also makes you sensitive to anything that feels superficial or fake. You might avoid conversations or environments that don't resonate with your deeper values. This can make social situations challenging, especially in a world that often prioritizes speed, distraction, and convenience over depth and authenticity. One interesting aspect of this sign is that it often leads to a unique relationship with spirituality or religion. Whether you're drawn to traditional faiths or more eclectic, personal belief systems, you probably approach these subjects with a critical yet open mind. You want to experience something authentic and transformative, not just follow rituals without understanding. Another common experience is that you might feel a strong pull toward creative or meaningful work, something that aligns with your values and allows you to express your authentic self. This could be anything from art, writing, or counseling to activism, teaching, or healing professions. How do you know if this sign fits you? You constantly ask deep questions about life, purpose, and meaning. You feel restless or dissatisfied with shallow or routine experiences. You seek out books, talks, or communities that explore big ideas. You have moments of insight or clarity that feel like profound awakenings. You avoid or feel uncomfortable with superficial conversations or environments. You feel a strong need to align your actions with your values. You may have a spiritual or philosophical practice, or at least a curiosity about these areas. This hunger for meaning is part of what makes rare personalities so fascinating. You're not here just to exist. You're here to understand and transform your existence. That's a powerful, sometimes daunting task, but it's also deeply rewarding. When you connect with your sense of purpose, everything else falls into place, or at least gains new context. Challenges become opportunities for growth, setbacks become lessons, and everyday life becomes infused with significance. So if you recognize this sign in yourself, know that you're part of a rare group of people driven by something bigger than the ordinary. Your quest for meaning is a journey that will continue throughout your life, shaping who you are and the impact you have on the world. Sign number 4. You often feel like an outsider or different from those around you. If you've ever felt like you're living in a world designed for everyone else, like you're looking at life from the sidelines or standing apart from the crowd, then you might be experiencing a classic sign of an extremely rare personality. This feeling of being an outsider is more than just occasional loneliness. It's a deep, persistent sensation that you don't quite belong. Carl Jung's theory about personality types gives us some clues as to why this happens. Rare personalities often have inner experiences, values, or ways of perceiving the world that don't align with mainstream society's expectations. This mismatch can make everyday social situations feel awkward, exhausting, or even alienating. Think about it. Most people find comfort in fitting in, following shared norms, and feeling part of a group. But for those with rare personalities, the internal world is so rich, complex, and nuanced that they often struggle to find others who truly get them. This isn't about being shy or antisocial. It's about the fundamental experience of perceiving and processing the world differently. You might notice this feeling in several ways. Maybe you find it hard to connect with peers because your interests or values feel unusual or too intense. Or perhaps social settings leave you feeling drained, misunderstood, or invisible. You might even question whether you're normal or worry that your differences are a flaw. This sense of being different can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can feel lonely and isolating. You might long for connection but hesitate to open up because you fear judgment or rejection. On the other hand, this feeling often drives you to seek out deeper, more meaningful relationships where your uniqueness is not only accepted but celebrated. Interestingly, Jung believed that this experience of otherness can be a critical part of personal growth. Feeling like an outsider forces you to turn inward, develop self-awareness, and define your identity on your own terms. It can push you toward authenticity, becoming the truest version of yourself instead of conforming to external expectations. Many rare personalities channel this sense of being different into creative expression or alternative lifestyles. They might find communities in niche interests, art, spirituality, or unconventional careers where their uniqueness is an asset rather than a liability. It's important to note that feeling like an outsider doesn't mean you're destined to be alone. It means your journey toward connection is just different. You might have fewer but deeper friendships, or prefer solitary activities that nourish your inner world. And when you find people who resonate with your rare personality, those connections can be profoundly fulfilling. How to recognize this sign? You often feel like you don't quite fit in with family, friends, or social groups. You find mainstream culture or conversations uninteresting or superficial. You feel misunderstood or invisible in social settings. You have a strong desire for deep, authentic connections, but find them rare. You sometimes question your own normality or worry about being too different. You prefer solitude or smaller groups to large crowds. You gravitate toward alternative interests, communities, or creative outlets. This sign is not about rejection or failure. It's about a different way of being. The world needs people who see it through a unique lens, people who challenge norms and offer fresh perspectives. Your feeling of being different is a sign of rare insight and originality. By embracing this outsider status, you open the door to greater self-acceptance and empowerment. You learn to honor your individuality and build bridges with others who appreciate the real you. If this resonates, remember, your rarity is your strength. The journey may feel lonely at times, but it's also where you find your deepest freedom and authenticity. Sign number 5. You have an uncommon ability to see patterns and connections others miss. One of the hallmark traits of an extremely rare personality, especially when we consider Carl Jung's ideas, is this almost uncanny ability to notice patterns and connections that most people simply overlook. If you've ever been told you have a unique perspective or that you think outside the box, this sign might explain why. It's not just about being smart or observant. It's deeper than that. You tend to see the world in a web of relationships between ideas, events, emotions, or people, and you intuitively understand how these elements interact. This natural pattern recognition helps you make sense of complex situations quickly and often leads to insights that others find surprising or profound. Jung described this as part of the function called intuition, especially introverted intuition. This function is like a mental radar that scans beneath the surface, picking up subtle signals and weaving them into a bigger picture. People with strong introverted intuition don't just react to facts. They grasp the underlying meanings and future possibilities behind them. For example, in a conversation, you might sense unspoken tensions or motives without anyone saying a word. When looking at a problem, you can connect seemingly unrelated dots to find innovative solutions. Or when reading a story or watching a movie, you pick up on hidden themes and symbols that others miss. This ability is a huge advantage in many fields, from science and strategy to art and counseling. But it also comes with its challenges. Since your mind is constantly connecting dots, it can sometimes overwhelm you with possibilities or make you feel restless if things don't align logically. You might also notice that you get frustrated when people focus only on details without seeing the broader context. You want to talk about the why and how, not just the what. This can create communication gaps with others who prefer straightforward, linear thinking. Another interesting aspect is that your pattern recognition often fuels creativity. Artists, writers, and inventors with rare personalities frequently draw on their intuitive ability to combine ideas in novel ways. They see patterns not just in data, but in emotions, sounds, colors, and more. How do you know if this sign fits you? You regularly notice connections between ideas, people, or events that others miss. You enjoy thinking about abstract or symbolic meanings. You feel frustrated with conversations or situations that focus only on surface facts. You often predict outcomes or trends before they happen. You get energized by brainstorming and exploring possibilities. You sometimes feel overwhelmed by the number of patterns your mind is tracking. Your creativity thrives when you can explore complex, interconnected ideas. This sign shows that your mind is wired to think holistically and intuitively, a rare gift in a world that often prizes quick, concrete answers. It means you're not just a thinker, you're a visionary, a connector, someone who can navigate complexity with grace. At the same time, balancing this gift is important. If you get too caught up in abstract patterns, you might lose touch with practical realities or become overly speculative. Learning to ground your insights in concrete action helps turn your visions into real-world impact. If you resonate with this sign, celebrate it. Your ability to see the invisible threads that connect life's tapestry is a rare superpower, one that can illuminate paths for yourself and others alike. Sign number 6. You possess a strong desire for authenticity and hate pretenses. One of the most compelling signs that you have an extremely rare personality is a powerful drive for authenticity, a deep need to be real, genuine, and true to yourself and others. If you find yourself constantly uncomfortable around people who are fake, superficial, or insincere, this sign might hit home. Carl Jung's theories highlight the importance of self-realization and embracing the true self. For those with rare personalities, this quest isn't just philosophical. It's an emotional imperative. You crave honesty in relationships, communication, and even your own inner dialogue. Think about it for a moment. How often have you felt drained or irritated when surrounded by small talk, social facades, or people putting on a mask? This isn't mere social fatigue. It's a profound resistance to anything that feels artificial or disingenuous. You don't want to pretend, and you can usually tell when others are pretending. This desire for authenticity goes beyond surface behavior. It's about aligning your words, actions, and beliefs in a way that feels whole and true. Rare personalities are uncomfortable with contradictions or living a lie. They seek coherence within themselves. Because of this, you might reject societal expectations or roles that don't fit who you really are. You may have chosen unconventional paths in your career, relationships, or lifestyle simply because conforming felt like betraying yourself. However, this intense need for authenticity can sometimes make social interactions challenging. People who don't share your value for genuineness may seem shallow or frustrating. You might find yourself avoiding crowds or casual acquaintances in favor of deeper, more meaningful connections. Interestingly, this trait is linked to emotional resilience. When you live authentically, you reduce internal conflict, leading to greater peace and self-acceptance. You build trust with yourself and others, creating relationships that nourish rather than drain you. Here's how to tell if this sign applies to you. You feel uncomfortable or irritated by superficial conversations or social posturing. You avoid pretending or playing roles in social or professional settings. You prioritize honesty, even when it's difficult. You seek relationships where you can be fully yourself without judgment. You reject societal norms or pressures that conflict with your true values. You feel a deep inner conflict when your actions don't align with your beliefs. You admire people who live with integrity and strive to do the same. This intense commitment to authenticity makes you rare because so many people, consciously or not, settle for less than their true selves. Your journey might feel lonely at times, but it's a path toward profound freedom and fulfillment. In embracing authenticity, you often inspire others to do the same. Your courage to be real challenges those around you to drop their masks, leading to deeper, more honest connections. Remember, authenticity isn't about perfection or always having the right answers. It's about being true to your evolving self, embracing imperfections, and living with integrity. If you find this resonates, you're embodying a rare and beautiful personality trait that lights the way for yourself and others. Sign number 7. You thrive in solitude and need it to recharge. If you often find yourself craving time alone, not out of loneliness, but because solitude feels like a deep, necessary source of energy, this could be a major sign that you have a rare personality. For many people, social interaction is energizing and fulfilling, but for those with unique personality traits, alone time is essential to mental and emotional well-being. Carl Jung famously introduced the concepts of introversion and extroversion, and rare personalities often lean heavily toward introversion. But it's not just about being shy or reserved. It's about how you regain balance and process your experiences. Where many recharge through socializing, you recharge through solitude. You might find that after long periods of interaction, even enjoyable ones, you feel drained or overwhelmed. Crowded rooms, loud conversations, and rapid exchanges can leave your mind spinning. Alone time, by contrast, restores your focus and helps you reconnect with your inner world. But this solitude isn't just passive downtime. It's active and intentional, a sacred space where you can reflect, dream, and explore your thoughts without external distractions. It's often in these quiet moments that you find clarity, creativity, and peace. Rare personalities often use solitude to engage in deep introspection, self-analysis, or creative pursuits. This is the time when your mind works best, when you can dive into ideas, emotions, or projects without interruption. You might write, paint, meditate, or simply daydream. and this process feels nourishing rather than lonely. This need for solitude can sometimes be misunderstood by others. Friends or family might see it as withdrawing or distancing yourself, but for you, it's vital self-care. Without it, you might feel restless, anxious, or emotionally drained. You might also notice that you prefer meaningful one-on-one interactions or small groups rather than large social events. When you do socialize, you often seek depth and authenticity, conversations that matter rather than small talk. Here are some ways to recognize this sign in yourself. You need regular, extended periods of alone time to feel balanced. Social events, especially large or noisy ones, leave you exhausted. You prefer meaningful conversations over casual chit-chat. Your creativity and problem-solving improve when you have solitude. You feel more connected with your inner self when alone. You may feel anxious or irritable if you don't get enough quiet time. You actively seek solitude as a way to recharge and reflect. Embracing your need for solitude is key to nurturing your rare personality. It's not a flaw or a limitation. It's a strength that allows you to engage with the world in a thoughtful, authentic way. Many rare personalities learn to communicate their needs clearly, explaining to others that alone time isn't about rejection, but about self-renewal. When respected, this need creates healthier relationships and helps you function at your best. So, if you find that solitude feels like a refuge and a source of power, know that this is a vital sign of your rare personality. It's a gift that enables you to live deeply, think clearly, and create authentically. Sign number 8. You have a deep connection with your inner world and dreams. The final sign of an extremely rare personality, especially through the lens of Carl Jung's insights, is a profound connection to your inner world. Your imagination, your dreams, and the rich symbolic language of your unconscious mind. Many people experience dreams as fleeting, strange fragments that fade by morning. But for those with rare personalities, dreams aren't just random images. They're powerful messages, guides, and windows into deeper truths about the self and the world. Jung placed enormous emphasis on the importance of dreams. He believed they reveal the unconscious mind's attempts to communicate with the conscious self. For rare personalities, this dream world often feels like a second reality, vivid, meaningful, and deeply personal. You might remember your dreams clearly, sometimes with intense emotions attached. You might even keep a dream journal or spend time interpreting symbols and themes. For you, these nightly visions aren't just entertainment. They're a vital part of your psychological and spiritual growth. This deep inner life extends beyond dreams into your waking imagination. You might find yourself frequently daydreaming, exploring fantasy worlds, or having rich internal dialogues. This inner space is where you process experiences, rehearse possibilities, and tap into creativity. This connection to the inner world can sometimes make the outer world feel less real or less compelling. You might prefer your thoughts and dreams to small talk or shallow interactions. This isn't escapism. It's a way to stay connected to your authentic self and your deeper purpose. At the same time, this trait often brings a heightened sensitivity to symbols, myths, and archetypes. You might feel drawn to stories, art, and spiritual traditions that explore these universal themes. They resonate with you on a level that transcends everyday life. How can you tell if this sign applies to you? You remember dreams vividly and find them meaningful. You often reflect on dreams and their symbolic messages. Your imagination is active and rich, even during waking hours. You feel a strong pull toward exploring your unconscious mind. You're drawn to myths, symbols, and spiritual traditions. You use dreams or inner exploration to understand yourself better. Your inner world feels like a sanctuary and a source of wisdom. This deep relationship with your inner world is a hallmark of rare personalities. It enriches your life with meaning, insight, and creativity, helping you navigate both the light and shadow aspects of yourself. Embracing this connection invites a lifelong journey of discovery and transformation. It opens the door to profound self-awareness, healing, and ultimately a more integrated and authentic life. So, here we are at the end of a deep dive into the 8 signs that show you have an extremely rare personality, seen through the insightful lens of Carl Jung. If you've been nodding along, feeling that spark of recognition with each sign, then congratulations. You are part of a truly special group of people. Rare personalities are not just different for the sake of it. Your uniqueness is a profound gift, shaping how you see the world, how you interact with others, and most importantly, how you understand yourself. Your inner world is rich, your intuition sharp, and your need for authenticity unshakable. You don't just move through life, you seek to understand it, feel it deeply, and live it fully. But with this gift also comes challenges. Feeling like an outsider, needing solitude, navigating the complexities of your inner thoughts, or confronting a world that sometimes values surface over depth. These aren't easy paths. They ask you to be brave, to accept both light and shadow within yourself, and to keep searching for meaning no matter what. Carl Jung's ideas remind us that the journey towards self-realization, toward becoming whole, is lifelong. It's not about fitting into a mold, but breaking molds and crafting your own unique shape in this vast human tapestry. So, if you identify with these signs, I encourage you to embrace your rarity. Celebrate your unique way of seeing patterns, your deep desire for authenticity, and your rich inner world. Use your gifts to navigate life with courage and compassion, both for yourself and for others. Remember, the world needs rare personalities like yours. You bring depth where there is shallowness, light where there is confusion, and authenticity where there is pretense. Your journey is one of courage, insight, and profound beauty. Keep exploring, keep dreaming, and above all, keep being unapologetically you.